Shalom, shalom. Shabbat shalom, man. Made it through another week. Made it to Sabbath. It seemed like these Sabbath days are coming back after back after back. Seemed like these Sabbath days, seem like these weeks are going by quick. Also, there is a bug, I guess, going around, with the weather change and everything, So, man, y'all take care of yourselves. Stay healthy. As the brother put on the screen, we do got a homeless event in our Purim next weekend to be exact. So stay tuned for that. RSVP, hit us up. If you still want to donate, I believe you still can. Hit us up in the email or primarily our Instagram account. Or you can comment on this video. We'll see it. But without further ado, we're the hopeful elect, right? Hoping to make our calling and our election sure to be called a part of that number at Judgment Day, right? It's your brothers, man, from the hopeful elect. Y'all see the Freestyle Friday lesson title, Endure Until the Win, right? We know the scripture of endure until the end, but this one is going to be endure until the win, right? And giving all honor, glory, and praise and obeisance and oblations to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who sent his son as an instrument of salvation for the nation, and that nation is Israel. Shalom to the 12 tribes, the commandment keepers, the believers, and shalom to the cleavers, right? Let's get into this lesson. I'm going to show my screen, play the blowing of the shofar, and then I got a video I found on Instagram. We're going to Freestyle Friday this thing. So let me go ahead and open this up. Let me share. Let me see. It's from Instagram. This content may be inappropriate. It's unavailable for certain audiences. Log in. Man, what are they doing all this for, bruh? Y'all ain't never do this to me before, bruh. Let me see. Let me try one more time. I don't.
Hey, man. Shabbat Shalom, man. What a time to be alive. What a time to be alive. The dollar finna crash. The dollar is finna crash very soon. Money is not going to mean anything. This kingdom is falling. So y'all stay tuned to that. Yeah, Trump on the hot seat, man.
And they trying to reverse the whole tariff thing, man.
Trying to Uno reverse it.
Yeah, man. Trying to reverse the tariff thing and now putting the country back in debt. Let's see.
You gotta fall, man. Olympus has fallen.
Bear with me, man. Bear with me.
Yeah, man. Why the brother doing that? The brother made a good point. The times is going by fast. And that was prophecy that the Lord was gonna speed up the times for the elect's sake. So this is why it feels like the time is going by fast and the days are going by fast. And we're not the only ones that notice that. People in the world that don't people that some people that don't even believe in the Bible, they noticing the time is going by really fast. The days are going by really fast because it was prophecy in the Bible that the Lord was going to speed up the days or the times for the elect's sake. So this is why it feels like it's the Sabbath, then the Sabbath come back again really fast.
Come on, man. I think we up and running now, man. So I'm gonna press play this video, and I got about 7 precepts, 7 locations in the Bible to go to back. Now, this brother that's about to speak, his name is Andrew Tate. He's known for being kind of controversial. He's known for his takes on the government, right? And he's known for his takes on civilian life and what it takes to be a man, what it takes to be a woman, that type of creator, right? But he has some controversial things that he believes in, thought-provoking things that he believes in. And this video, I found it to be more on the logical side, and I think we can benefit from some of the things he said, because I think the Bible backs up some of the statements he says in this. Because this is Andrew Tate.
Very logical to you people at home. And if you're stupid, you're not going to understand it. But if you're smart, it's not that difficult a concept. There is no light without dark. 5,000 years ago, the Chinese drew yin and yang for a reason. They are linked. They go together. There is no such thing as a successful person without a failure. Without the failures, there's no success. You need both. For there to be winners, there has to be losers. Therefore, if God is going to give you the chance to become a successful person, he has to make it difficult. He has to lay out a gauntlet, because within that gauntlet, some people will quit and they can go become losers, which allow the people who do not quit to be winners. I'm going to say something very
right. He said a mouthful. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, send me that video.
But a lot of people, when you meet them, a lot of times they say, I just have a problem with the Bible. And you ask them, what's the problem? And we get this, we've gotten this 2 or 3 times. My problem's in Genesis. Why would he tell them not to eat of that fruit if he knew he was going to eat the fruit anyway? Because he's all knowing. What kind of God is that? And this brother put it out pretty plainly. He has to test you. And somebody has to be a loser. Somebody got to be a winner in this thing. Not everybody's going to make it, right? Not everybody's going to make it. So let me go to this verse real quick. I'm going to add a verse. All right, let's go here real quick in the Apocrypha. It's not what I wanted, but nonetheless, it's still the same point, and it's short and sweet. Let's get this real quick. 2nd Esdras 8:3.
2nd Esdras chapter 8 and verse 3. There be many created, but few shall be saved.
Come on, man. There's gonna be many created, but few are gonna be saved. So that lets you know God has created this thing for there to be losers and winners. But as this title states, endure until the win. You have to endure until the win. That's the only way you're going to solidify your spot in the kingdom. That's the only way you're going to solidify your salvation. It ain't once saved, always saved. It's endure until the win. And you ain't win until you cross the finish line. You can't run a race and just say, I'm done running. No, they're going to disqualify you if you don't cross the finish line. You can't just walk off the track if you want to, but you got to go all the way to the end. You can't just play a football game or basketball game and just, stop mid-game. You have to go into that clock run out, right? You can't just, leave from work with no excuse. You got to go until it's time to clock out. That's how you're going to get paid, right? So the same thing with the Most High, all of that, the Most High God made that from the beginning, that you have to stick the whole thing out if you want to get paid at the end. If you want to win, you have to endure unto the end, right? Let's get the next precept, Matthew 24:13.
God, this the it's like it. This the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 13, and it reads, "But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved."
Come on, man. He that endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. Because a lot of people like to think, hey, I'm already saved in this thing. I already confessed with my mouth. I already believe that Christ is the Messiah, and I believe what he did. Nah, that's not enough. That's not enough. You got to endure. What does endure mean, man? Endure means that it's not going to be easy. That means that not everybody's going to make it. It's going to be some losers. It's going to be some people that fall by the wayside. It's going to be some people that don't have what it takes, right? I know I was watching another video this week, and a brother was saying, it's cool to have homeboys in the same sport as you, but when they play your same position, you kind of caught between, you kind of caught in a hard place, because every time they do something good at practice, you kind of want to turn up with them because that's your homeboy. But then you remember, hold up, he going for my position. And both of y'all can't have the same position, right? One of y'all is going to be the loser. One of y'all is not going to be built for it. And you're going to find out through the test of time. Same thing with us, in our families, in this walk, with our friends. Even when you come into the knowledge of this truth, you'll see people walk away. You'll see people put the work down. You'll see people turn back to their own vomit. And these are some of the people you thought were so mighty, people that were better, that you thought were better than you. And you just see them disappear like that, right? Let's go to Luke 9:62. Brother Denal.
Luke 9:62, it says, "And Jesus said unto him, No man having put his hand to the plow and looking back is fit for the kingdom of God."
Right. You're going to see a lot of people pick up that plow and then put it down because it got too hot. Put it down because there's too much dirt on the ground. Their feet started hurting, right? They're going to put it down because it started raining outside. They're going to put that plow down for a multitude of reasons, and they're not going to endure until the end. They're not going to see the harvest. They're going to say, you know what? I don't think this farming thing is for me. You know what? I think, I'll go in debt and I'll just go buy me a tractor. They're going to put the plow down. And guess what? They're not fit for the kingdom. They're not fit to win. They're not. They don't have what it takes to win. The only way you find out if somebody has what it takes to win is if they win. Until then, everything's in limbo. You can almost win. But if you don't win, you don't have what it takes to win. You're a loser. Right? The only way you find out if you win and if you are really him or her is if you're on the other side at the end, right? You got that championship. You got that game. You won that game, or you won that debate, or you whatever. That's how you understand who's a winner and who's a loser. For 1 Corinthians 9:24.
1 Corinthians 9:24. Know ye not that they which run in the race run all, but one receiveth the prize? So run that ye may obtain.
Right. So run so that you may obtain. Everybody's in this race. Even the people that don't know they're in the race, they are in the race. They just already lost. Right. But God, like the brother said, God has had to make a gauntlet. He had to make a battlefield. He had to make a maze. He had to make a gladiator pit. He had to what's the thing called? Hunger Games. He had to create a Hunger Games in the spiritual and the physical to see, who is gonna win, who is gonna make it, who's gonna be the losers. And he already know who the losers are. He said, I create even the wicked for the day of judgment. He knows who the bad people are. He knows who the good people are. He knows who the weak people are. He knows who the strong people are. Right? Even to the context of, you got to think, in the Maccabees, Mattathias, he understood his sons. Or was it Judas? I think it was Mattathias. But he understood his sons. Right? He understands. He's like, hey, this son, he's been strong since youth. He's gonna lead y'all in war. This son, he's He's been wise. He's gonna be y'all's counselor. Y'all go to him for advice. You know what I'm saying? He understood that. So if that's an earthly man, don't you think the Most High God knows his children? He knows good from bad and weak from strong, and whose strengths is what, and who's gonna make it to the end, and who's not. He know these things, right? But he lets it play out in the physical. He got to, so that we can be convinced of our own actions. Because we were talking about this a couple of minutes ago when we was at a restaurant, and some brothers stop coming around because they feel shame. That lets you know they know if something's right or wrong. They may not tell nobody. They may, say shalom here and there every now and then, but they stop coming around because they feel like they don't belong, or they feel some shame, right? So that lets us know that we ourselves, we know if we're losers or winners, right? And another brother was like, man, at some point in this walk, it's got to get to the point to where if something's bad, it's bad. If something's good, it's good. And if you're still struggling and it's a blurred line, you're a loser. You're a loser, right? You're not going to make it. You got to get to the point to where winning is the only option. Winning is the only thing you see. Once you get to a point that sometimes, there's some high schools out there that are just used to winning. Every year, they're just used to winning. They don't even expect to lose, right? And so, they're so used to winning that, and it's so much of their culture that, it just becomes a lifestyle. They know what it takes to win. They know what it feels like to win. And there's some schools that they're known to lose for generations. They lost when their parents was playing. They lost when their kids was, they just known for losing. So just like that, in this world, we understand if we're losing or if we winning. We understand. Some people, they fall into depression when they realize that they're losing, and that's that shame, right? And they don't let that propel them to turn it up a notch, because we've seen Cinderella stories. Cinderella stories is where the loser become the winner, right? We've seen that. And some people can make that switch and make it happen to where, they say it's not over yet. It's not over till the fat lady sings, right? And they become winners. But if you don't ever get to that point to where you can just be real with yourself, be like, I'm losing right now, you never make that switch, right? So you got to understand that everybody's running this race, right? Whether they know it or not, they're running this race. And hey, look, it says, but one received the prize. That lets you know not everybody's gonna make it. This is talking in a race full of 5 people. It could be 7 people, 8 people. Only one is gonna win first place. So that lets you know, like, in the grand scheme of things, in the kingdom, it's not gonna be a lot of winners.
Yeah, and that's something that kind of Christianity promotes, is participation medals. You know what I'm saying? And the thing about it is, you don't get a participation trophy just for believing, man. You got to do some things to earn it. The whole Bible is preaching about earning certain things that come with your salvation, earning your crown, all this stuff. You're not gonna set a crown on your head just for no reason, man. You got to earn those things, man. Just like anything else in life.
Con, I'm willing to go on record and say, I speak as a man, but I'm willing to go on record and say that whenever the Bible speaks about the kingdom, it's always talking in a sense of earning it. It's always talking in a sense of you had to do something for it. But, contrary to popular belief and to the mainstream media, the Bible's all about just, making sure everybody get there. I'll see you in the kingdom. I'll see you in heaven.
Why does he say stuff like fight the good fight and well done, my good and faithful servant? Why is he telling you well done?
Why is he mentioning a reward? You don't get a reward for doing nothing.
That's what I'm saying. This ain't this ain't middle school ball where where
little league
where you won one game, your record was 1-15, and everybody get the little plastic gold trophies at the end of the season. Stevie B's, bro.
What's that one episode that was on Bernie Mac and and Jordan was on the football team and he wanted to get in the Bernie Mac Hall of Fame. Uncle Bernie, I just wanted to be in the Bernie Mac Hall of Fame. Right? And he said, yeah, you was okay, Jordan. You got your trophy. That's a participation trophy, Uncle Bernie. I want to earn it. The human torpedo. Right? This is the thing. Even little kids understand participation trophies, right? So how much more us as adults? We got to get right, man. We got to understand there's no participation. If you want to win, you got to show it. You got to beat all the odds. The days where you don't want to show up, you got to show up. The nights where you want to, get some sleep, but you can't get no sleep because you're supposed to be doing. Hey, you can sleep later. Right? The little things that you got to do to win, you got to do those things in life. And I'm talking spiritually. You right? I'm talking spiritually. Let's get this. Genesis 19:26.
God, Genesis 19:26. But his wife looked back from behind him, and she became a pillar of salt.
Who is this talking about, man? Talking about Lot's wife. She lost. All she had to do was run forward and don't look back. Don't look back. But she lost. There's going to be people that you're like, why would you do that? There's going to be people that fall by the wayside and be like, you can't follow simple directions? Keep the Sabbath day? You can't follow that? Didn't you claim to be in the truth, in the knowledge of the truth? You can't keep the Sabbath day? That's how, but they got a nerve to cast their judgments on Lot's wife, and they can't keep the simplest of commandments. Or making excuses, right? You just like Lot's wife, a loser, right? Let's get this, Daniel 12:2.
Look at Daniel chapter 12 and verse 2. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt.
Right. You're going to have winners and you're going to have losers, man. Point blank, period. Just like he was saying in that video. You're going to have some people, in order for there to be winners, there has to be losers. If there was no such thing as the lake of fire, there wouldn't be no need to have a kingdom. We would just be living on earth right now. You can't have one without the other. It's, you're either going to have light or you're going to have dark. And there is light, and light shines in darkness, and darkness comprehendeth not. That's what the scriptures say. So with that being said, without the ones waking up to everlasting contempt, you wouldn't have the ones waking up to everlasting life. Right? You can't have one without the other. So which one are you going to be? Which lot are you going to fall into? Right? The everlasting life or everlasting contempt? The loser or the winner? Let's get this, Matthew 13:22, the parable of the sower, right? You on mute, brother.
Matthew chapter 13 verse 22. He also that receives seed among the thorns is he that heareth the word, and the care of this world and the deceitfulness of riches choke the word, and he becomes unfruitful.
Right. So that seed, that good seed from the parable of the sower, you may get it. And now that you got it, it's off to the races. It's off to the races. Right? You running. But what does it say? The cares of this world. I got all these bills. I might got to scam and cheat a little bit. I might have to lose my integrity. You know what I'm saying? I might have to do a little something strange to get famous. The cares of this world, the deceitfulness of riches. He said, I can make how much if I do what? You still running the race, right? But you getting distracted, right? They choke the word. What does it mean to choke the word? It takes the breath, right? When he said he breathed and his breath went into Adam, became a living, breathing soul. He became a spiritual being, right? That had understanding, that had life, that had the commandments. When you choke that breath out, there's no more commandments, man. You choking the commandments out of the word. You ain't living by the word no more. That's why it says, and he becometh unfruitful, right? So you running this race and all these things done choked you out. It done cut the breath from you. And now you're suffocating and you become unfruitful because you gasping for air. You out of shape. You wasn't built to last the race. You are a loser. You have lost. You didn't make it to the end. You got to endure until the win, endure unto the end. I want to read this passage right here, and we'll end off of this. Unless brothers got something they want to pull out at the end. What's going on? Right? This is going to be Matthew 25, 1 through 13. Salakia. What's going on?
God, this is
Salakia, 1 second. Trying to get that off the screen. I don't know why that's not going off the screen. All right, there we go. Salakia. All right, let's read this real quick. Matthew 25, starting at verse 1. Let me try to zoom in some more.
all these ads, brother. What you got going on, man?
I don't know what that is. I don't know why it's like that. Matthew 25.
Matthew 25, 1 through 13, and it reads, starting at verse number 1. It says, "Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins, which took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom. And 5 of them were wise, and 5 were foolish. They that were foolish took their lamps and took no oil with them. But the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps."
Right, so start right there. You got 10 people in a race, right? You're going to have some people, they prepare for the race. They train for the race. They studied mechanics for the race. They hydrated, made sure that they had their electrolytes so they wouldn't cramp up. Right? You got 10 people in this race, right? Trying to win. But you got some people that I'll be okay on game day. I'm built for this. I don't need to do all that. It's not that serious. I'll be all right. I think I'm talented enough. I think my genetics will count for something. Nah, they're not faster than me. I ran against them before. You got some people that's not taking it that serious, and they take a load off, and they do what they want to do. And in the world, we know people like that still think they have a good relationship with God, still think God talking to them, still think God's in their life, but they took a back seat. They're doing what they want to do. They're not doing none of the commandments, nor do they care about them or wanting to know what they are, right? We know people like that. Guess what? They're foolish, right? They're foolish as these foolish that, did not get oil, right? Let's pick up at verse 5.
Verse number 5, it says, "While the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept. And at midnight there was a cry made, Behold, the bridegroom cometh. Go you out to meet him. Then all the," verse 7, "Then all those virgins arose and trimmed their lamps. And the foolish said unto the wise, Give us of your oil, for our lamps are going out. But the wise answered, saying, Not so, lest there not be enough for us and you. But go ye rather to them that sell and buy for yourselves."
Right, and you can't be mad at winners. The first thing a loser like to do is say, hey, you gotta help me out, bro. Look at all the money that you got, bro. You gotta help me out with some. The first thing that losers do is, hey, bro, man, hey, you making me look bad in front of coach, man. Can you slow down a little bit? The first thing that losers do is blame the winners. That's the first thing that they do, because the winners is highlighting how they look bad, right? But this is the thing: if you prepared, and if you took this race serious, and you was in it for the win, you wouldn't be in that position, right? You would be with the winners. You wouldn't have fell on the wayside. You wouldn't be about to give up. You wouldn't be running so slow, right? So you gotta ask yourself, why am I blaming this person? And if the person that you're blaming, if they're doing all the things that they're supposed to do, you just got to notice that and be like, nah, I got to get right. And that should propel you to start winning instead of trying to take the cop out and blame somebody else, right? At the end of the day, we're in charge of our own salvation. We got to work out our own salvation with fear and trembling. We got to figure this race out ourselves, right? Let's pick back up.
Starting at verse 10. And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and they that were ready went in with him to the marriage, and the door was shut. Afterward came also the other virgins, saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. But he answered and said, Verily I say unto you, I know you not. Watch therefore, for ye know neither the day nor the hour wherein the Son of Man cometh.
Right. And that's the story of winning. The story of winning, nobody remembers the losers, bro. Nobody really cares. Nobody's throwing a parade for them. Nobody's taking pictures of them. Nobody's talking about the records they broke. Nobody is, nobody's trying to get their autograph. Nobody cares about the losers. And you're gonna get shunned away. People are gonna bump into you trying to get to the winners and all, and you're gonna feel bad. You know what I'm saying? But you have a chance to be a winner. It's all up to you. But understand this. Not all of us can be winners. So, you're fighting against the unknown here. So, I mean, there's really no chance for you to, what's the word? There's no chance for you to play around. There's no chance for you to slack up because somebody else is running just as fast as you trying to make it. And as we just said, there's double to that, which is there's a loser and there's a winner. It's got to be one or the other, right? And because somebody in your family is a loser, maybe that's the reason why you're a winner, right? And so we can't love our family, our friends and stuff more than wanting to win, because at the end of the day, you got to endure until the win. That goes into relationships. A lot of women, they might blame their husband. Oh, my husband should be this, he should be that, and that's the reason why you can't blame that on why you're not winning. Right? At the end of the day, we haven't won, like we said, until the end, until it's all over and you cross that finish line. You're not a winner or a loser, but at the end, you're gonna see who's a winner and who's gonna be a loser. And in your role, you know what I'm saying, you may have to endure a bad spouse. You may have to endure, I don't know, bad kids. You may have to endure a bad job. You may have to endure these things until the end, until the win. But you got to keep running the race, because if not, you're just gonna be a loser. And nobody cares about losers. Nobody is gonna be on Judgment Day like, man, Tyler, man, he was a good dude, man. He didn't make it. No, nobody gonna care about Tyler. No, nobody's gonna care about the losers. You know what I'm saying? So hey, that's all I have for today, man. Endure until the win. Stay in the race until the very end, man, and try to win the race. Do brothers have anything they wanted to pull out or not?
No, man, but I will say, man, just like we always say, you just got to control what you can control, man. When it comes to winning or trying to win at the end of the game, if it's a championship game or whatever, we all been in those situations where, if you lose, it's everybody's fault. You know what I'm saying? The coach is like, hey, man, we can't put that all on one person. We missed X, Y, and Z. We missed this amount of free throws as a collective. We turned the ball over this many times as a team. It's on everybody. And then vice versa, when you win, it's everybody's even little things get highlighted. You see the coach saying, "Hey man, good win. Hey man, we couldn't do that we couldn't do this without everybody on the team. Remember the third quarter at 3 minutes, that 50-50 ball that so and so did coming straight off the bench. We don't win this game without that happening." And you know what I'm saying? So you go through little things because little things matter, and it's not about blaming somebody else or what somebody else is doing or not doing. It's all going to come down to what did you do, right? And so your reward is going to come from what you ended up doing with the opportunities that you have. But that's all I have.
Hey, I wanted to say, man, just like it says in 1 Corinthians 13:7, man, beareth all things, believeth all things, hopeth all things, endureth all things. Like the brother said, man, you're going to go through situations. You may have a spouse, partner, children, job, friends, family, whatever it is, man. You just gotta endure until the Lord give you the glory. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not talking about until you're glorified and making it about you. I'm talking about the glory as in your reward for being on your best behavior and exemplifying your faith and doing all the right things, even in spite of the situation, trials, tribulations that you are facing. So, mighty lesson.
Come, man. Without further ado, man, you know,
Right, listen. I was-
come. You know, as our big brother Christ said, if you're not gathering, you're scattering. So gather together, O nation, not desire, man. We got to get up out of this kingdom. And it's not going to happen until all these prophecies are fulfilled. One of those prophecies being us being gathered and our fame going throughout the earth. But that's not going to happen unless y'all come back to these law, statutes, and commandments, man. So we're the hopeful elect, right? Bringing y'all into the Sabbath day. We say Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat